for that, but that's what I found out about NSA and other federal agencies using the FBI fusion centers as vengeance for hire entities. Now, the fusion centers were created after 9/11. You had heads of various intelligence agencies, including NSA, telling the Congress, we don't know what happened. It was an intelligence failure, but we think that if you give us a place in each state, some kind of center where we can fuse information from the national level down to the local level, we can head off these kinds of terrorist attacks. And so at this point in time, after 20 years, there are 80 fusion centers all over the United States. It is a network. And they supposedly are watching for terrorist plots, trying to identify terrorists, et cetera, et cetera. And so far in 22 years, they have found not one terrorist, not one terrorist group, not one terrorist plot, and stopped no terrorist plot whatsoever. And Congress is asking them, what are you doing with the billions of dollars that we give you? And they refuse to tell them. They basically say, you don't have the clearance, so we're not telling you, which is insane. But what they have done is they have created a Tier 3 and Tier 4 level terrorist list of regular Americans, and they call them non-investigative subjects. Well, if these are dangerous people, why are you not investigating them? Why would they be non-investigative subjects? Well, because they're fraudulently put on Tier 3 and Tier 4. And then they are defamed. The NSA, the Fusion Center operatives go throughout the neighborhood, show their shiny little badges, and tell them, we have a problem in your neighborhood. You know, John Smith is, we think he's a terrorist, and he has predilections for pedophilia and all kinds of other stuff. And they scare the heck out of these civilians who don't have any idea that they're lying. They do create false dossiers right and left. There are hundreds of thousands of false dossiers. And once they target you, they never let go. They actually go through the neighborhood, tell them, we need you to do this, this, and this to them. And it can be quite petty. Like, Tim, you have to go over and slit John's tire, every Tuesday morning. For $100, we'll give you a gift card. But they can also basically enlist the neighbors to allow or to participate in hitting these people with electromagnetic weapons. These are the types of weapons that hit our diplomats, and they can be quite devastating. They go through almost anything and everything, and you can see my face is swollen. I mean, I'm old, but my face is still swollen from these weapons hitting my home 24/7. And of course, police don't have any idea what you're talking about, or they're told to butt out. Well, like I said, they've turned into vengeance for hire entities, but they are into human trafficking, and they get, and I'm going to call it contracts on people, because NSA basically went to them and said, hey, we have a problem. This woman is suing us. Maybe they admitted it or not. We stole her work and awarded it to a woman who was sleeping her way through the weapons and space management. Maybe they admit it. I don't know. Or maybe they had an entirely different story, but they put out a contract on me and they said, okay, this was to the Florida people. And so they went through the neighborhood. I was staying with my parents, actually, because they were in their 80s and needed some help. And I was waiting for my EEOC case to come up. So they went through the neighborhood defaming me, surprise to me. And I ended up getting stalked and harassed. And I think Bill Binney calls it cast iron coverage, which means if you leave your home, somebody is watching and beeps their horn, a warning like she's leaving or she's coming or whatever. And then you have 2, 3, 4, 5 cars kind of pile on and follow you everywhere you go, sometimes just making their presence clear, sometimes impeding where you're going, other times causing car accidents. So this is not surveillance. This is minute-by-minute harassment. And what they want to do is take this troublesome, inconvenient person and blame them with some kind of crime, put them, like you said, in a loony bin by saying, you're crazy, nobody would do this. Well, they've had this going for 20 years. They've had this program going for 20 years, and they have not only trained the FBI and Fusion Center operatives to do these types of idiocies, but they train and pay through gift cards, third card gift cards, neighbors, townspeople. They even enlist the help of certain crime gangs, because the crime gangs will do certain things that a civilian will say, no, I really don't think I want to kill her dog, So they go through different groups in a town. They tell them different lies to get them enraged. And then they put them on a schedule and say, okay, well, your church can stalk and harass her for the next 6 weeks, and then we'll move on to the PTA. So they have civilians highly invested because they want to believe this particular person is a terrible person, or else why would they be doing this to them? But it doesn't occur to them, this has no due process, and the person has no chance to prove themselves innocent. But they're invested in the money. So they're doing this all over the country. I mean, if you move from Iowa to Michigan, you're going to get car stalked. And once you get to Michigan, they're going to go through the neighborhood and get them to do the same things to you. If you pick up and move to Texas, they're going to do the same things. I mean, it is a highly professional network of harassers.